Living green or sustainably is about more than saving on your electric bill and doing your part to protect natural resources. It is about a safer and healthier life for you and your family without sacrificing style, quality, or budget. This is a movement to provide all of us with clean air to breathe and water to drink, safe, healthy food to eat, and places to live, and energy to run the places where we live, learn, play, and work. The Green Gab podcast helps you get the value of green for you, your family, and your community. Whether it's green homes, green living, or the people who make it happen, join me, Marla Esser-Close, to learn how green and sustainability practices and products work for our world and you. Welcome to the Green Gab. This is Marla Esser-Close, the Green Home Coach, and I am thrilled today to have a great conversation with Lindsey McCoy of Plaine Products. And if y'all have not heard of this yet, I'm a big fan. Matter of fact, the end of the podcast will give you a way to get involved and try it out on your own. So stay tuned. Lindsey, welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm just so excited. I've been using Plaine Products, for a couple of years now. And
yeah, but always
on the podcast.
Yeah, no, always fun to talk to a fan. That's much happier than the alternative.
I know, right? We like that. Well, tell us a little bit more about you and your sister have Plaine Products.
Yeah. So we are not a typical entrepreneur story. My background is actually in nonprofit management, and I happen to be living in the Bahamas. My husband is from the Bahamas. We met, actually lived on a boat, ended up moving there. It's a whole other story. And while I was there, did environmental education work and kept kind of bumping into single-use plastics everywhere. In the Bahamas, they don't have the same sort of infrastructure that we have here in the States to make our trash disappear. So you see a lot more litter, you see it on the beaches and the water. And so I started doing things to minimize plastic in my life, carrying a reusable water bottle, reusable bags. And one place I couldn't find a solution was the shower. All those little plastic bottles in the shower were making me crazy. So we decided to move back to the States, and I called my sister and I said, there's hundreds of millions of plastic shampoo bottles going in landfills every year. You want to help me do something about that? And happily, she said yes, and we had no idea what we were getting into. And almost 2 years later, we actually launched Plaine Products. Plaine is actually a play on our maiden name, which was Della Plaine.
Okay.
Hence the E, and also sort of a plain and simple and a non-tech solution to a problem.
So there's not a lot of solutions to eliminate plastic unless you want to quit using shampoo, soap, and
there are some amazing people who are making it at home. That was just never going to be me. I have a long string of Pinterest failures in my history. So yeah, making my own shampoo was not an option. So in essence, yes. I designed this as something I wanted, and then I was hoping others would feel the same.
I find that's our passion and sharing that with other people is a lot of times what really fuels people to say, oh, I need to take a look at this. So definitely understand and applaud that direction. So if you're just kind of to cue everybody in, because most of us likely go to the grocery store or the big box discount store, or maybe we order it on Amazon, or maybe we go to one of the buying clubs, and we're faced with a plethora of plastic bottles. And I think most of us think about what's inside, but not so much the packaging.
And I will say, I think both of those things are important. I didn't realize until we started researching this company how many crazy chemicals there are in your average personal care product. It's actually very disturbing. So I got into this because I realized at some point that every piece of plastic we've ever used is still on this planet, and I wanted to do something about it. But then I quickly also became an advocate for green beauty and not putting toxic chemicals on things that we put on our own body, things we put on our children's body. That just makes sense to me. And, so I think both of those things are true. I think that both, we are inundated with information and things to do in this day and age. Until you do stop and take a look at an issue, you're not aware. You're not aware of how much plastic is out in the world. You're not aware of how many chemicals you're putting on your body. And so, we make a real effort to kind of educate people about both of those things.
So I'm learning a lot, and I'm meeting a lot of people, and a lot of women in particular, that have really started paying attention to what they are putting in their bodies, what we're eating, organic foods, cleaner foods, what we're putting on our bodies, so much less toxic. And there's some great ways to research that, folks. And then where our bodies live, which is our homes, which is where I've come in. And I think we're finally starting to understand that how those all correlate is really important, and that we can really do something easily about all three of those. We just have to think different.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes a little bit more time to not just automatically buy what we've always bought, not just
get out of the habits.
Get out of our habits. And it does take a little bit more time up front, but then you can create new habits.
Yes. I'm so in favor of that. And in the shampoo and the beauty products world, you can buy in glass, which is not very common for shampoo and body wash.
It's a little tricky in the shower,
Don't want to be breaking things.
Do not want to be breaking. The clear glass in a shower can cause a lot of problems. So that's one of the reasons we actually didn't go with glass. Plus, my son can break anything, whether he's near it or not. So I just...
I hear you.
Wasn't something I wanted to take on.
So we also have seen Solid Bar shampoo, soap, which I haven't tried too many of those. I've just had great options otherwise.
Yeah, I tried a few and they just didn't work for my hair. I think, everybody's hair is so different. Yeah. And, some people are like, well, bar soaps work for me. Why should I switch it up? I'm like, you shouldn't. Good for you.
Yes.
Great. If you find something that works for your hair, stick with it. As I said, it just wasn't working for me. My sister actually has different hair than I do. Hers is kind of coarse. I shouldn't use the word coarse. She would get grumpy, but like curlier. And, so both of us were looking for something, and this was a product that worked for both of us. So we were thrilled about it.
Well, and then the last thing that at least, if you can't do anything else, at least buy the biggest sizes you can. So you've got less plastic to get rid of and less frequency that you have to keep replenishing.
Bulk is always a great option.
Right.
And there are also some great refill stores if you're in a city around the country that are popping up all over the place. And that's another good way to do it.
When I lived in St. Louis, we had a refill store for a few years, mainly for cleaning products, but it was a great concept. I know a lot of cities don't have those options. So Plaine Products to the rescue.
Yes. Having been an expat and living in small communities, again, designing something that worked for me, something that would come to your door. And honestly, for me, I do some bulk buying, but for some reason, the idea of getting a bottle out of my shower to a bulk store on the day that I needed to and getting it back into my shower the same day is just, sadly, I guess I'm just not that organized. I can manage to get some cashews here and there at a bulk store or some other things, but it just didn't work for me out of the bathroom. So yeah. And I guess I should talk about how our process works because we've been okay.
So for you guys listening to us, we're actually doing a few video clips from this. So I have here, Lindsey, my latest box.
You're so good.
After you describe your process, I want to come back and talk a little bit more about some of the things I noticed with the process that I absolutely love and I haven't seen a lot of other people do. So,
ooh, well, I'm excited. That's a great market research for us. I'm excited to hear it. Thanks. Yes. So it's pretty simple. You go on to plaineproducts.com. You pick out the scents and the products that you want. We put it in a box made out of recycled paper, send it to you. It comes with pumps, put the pumps on. And then when you're running low, we send you just the refill bottle, no extra pump. You switch that pump over and along with that refill bottle comes a return label. Just put the return label on the box, put the empty bottles in, and it comes back to us for free. And we wash them and then send them back to be refilled and they go back out into the world. And I'll just say
it sounds so easy.
It is so easy. Yes. Yes. Yay. That's the whole point. We are busy people and we need some things in our life to be easy. And it's great to, do good and have it hopefully be convenient.
I love it. So I'm going to, the video clips and y'all listening, go check out social media for Green Home Coach and we'll get the video clips up there. So this is the bottle. What do I have today? Body wash. I just went and took this out of my shower. So it's kind of wet, but it's super easy. When I'm done, unscrew the lid. I'm not going to take this one all the way out, folks, because it's going to drip everywhere. But I take the pump out. I go to my box, which looks like this. Her recycle box. I want to show you guys something too, really cool. See how this label wraps around the edge? When I put my return label on, I love this, Lindsey. This is so smart. I just put my return label right over this label. It seals the box. I don't have to peel anything off, do anything else. It's super smart. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. My sister will be delighted to hear it. She has worked so hard on the packaging. Oh, I just put my computer.
I'm an engineer by training. So when I see something super simple and super smart, I'm just like over the moon excited. So,
well, the other interesting thing is plastic tape makes cardboard unrecyclable.
Yes. And a lot of us don't know that. Yes. So if you are recycling your cardboard, pull off the plastic tape, or better yet, buy paper tape.
Yep.
So the bottles come like this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if my camera can pick this up. Even your box is so cleverly designed. I have another person I work with. She was having problems getting her products in the boxes so they wouldn't dent and get banged up.
Yeah.
And I showed her your box and she's like, oh my gosh, that's such a perfect idea. Because it's just folded up cardboard. So it's all recyclable, pads it.
Yep.
Ingenious. It doesn't add any extra weight. You don't have to use a bigger box. I'm just so excited about that. But anyway, you take your bottle, unscrew the cap, and I put this back on the one I'm returning.
Yep.
And then we stick them all back in the box. And I don't run out of everything at the same time. So I tend to have, I do a trio of shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. I'm getting ready to start doing the hand soap too, because I didn't realize we had it until a few weeks ago.
Well, there you go.
I know. So there's hand soap too. And there's also some other products, which we'll talk about on the next segment. But I keep an extra, like every other month, I'll do a different combination so I have enough. And your system online, your ordering system makes it super easy. You can go on auto ship. You can go in and change it. It has really worked for me. And my husband loves it too, so that's even better.
Delighted to hear it.
So, tell you what, let's take a quick breather. And folks, we'll be right back to talk more about why Plaine Products can be just an easy part of your life too. Hey, this is Marla Close, the Green Home Coach, and I am the author of Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home. And in this book, besides talking about a bunch of stuff about green and sustainability products and practices you can easily take in your home, I also talk about home maintenance and how important this is to having a home that serves you rather than you serving it. Seasonal home maintenance checklists are a big part of this, and I teamed up with colleague Tina Gleisner from Home Tips for Women to use her maintenance checklist. They're actually included in the book starting on page 96. And if you have the book, look them up. But I wanted to give you a brief excerpt from the book to get you excited about why home maintenance checklists, I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but why they are so important. So, maintaining a home is actually a 3-part ongoing process. Inspect, maintain, and update. To help you keep track of what you've done and plan to do, make notes on the checklist. First, inspect. If you've only got an hour to spare, pick one exterior side of the house or one room inside to inspect. Note the date you did this on the checklist and flag items needing maintenance or repairs so you can schedule time or make a list for your handyman or handy woman. Second, maintain. Keep your home safe, such as smoke detector batteries. Keep your home energy efficient, like furnace air filters, and prolong the useful life of many home features, like caulking bathroom tile. Write it down when you complete a task, keeps you from guessing later on. And third, update. Take advantage of improved materials and fixtures. Upgrade to new building codes, and evaluate when it makes more sense to make an improvement rather than repair, such as replacing a bathroom floor rather than repairing the grout. Check out the book or give me a holler and I'll hook you up online to get the maintenance checklist for yourself. If you'd like to have the entire book, please go to livinggreenbook.com for a multitude of ways to purchase it for yourself. Thanks again. This is Marla, the Green Home Coach. Back on the Green Gab, gabbing with Lindsey of Plaine Products. And, not only do you and your sister have an amazing product, you've had an opportunity to really see some of the plastic problem up close, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Should I just start talking about it? You want to ask me?
Absolutely. Okay. So in all fairness, listeners, Lindsey and I talked about this before, and she had an opportunity to go on an expedition to research plastic in the oceans. And Oh my gosh. I am so intrigued by this.
Even cooler, it's called XX Expedition because it's all women. So the double X chromosome. But yes, it is an incredibly cool round the world sailing voyage doing plastic research all the way around the world. It's going to take them 2 years. There's 30 legs and 10 amazing women get to join on each leg along with 3 professional sailing crew and a mission leader. So I got to do the leg from Aruba to Panama in December 2019.
So while you're on this expedition, what kind of things do you all do?
So before we even leave, we do research. There, an amazing scientist, Dr. Jana Jambek, is estimating how much plastic ends up in the ocean every year from litter and blowing off, dumps. And she's the one who first kind of put out the figure of 8 million tons a year going into the ocean each
Ouch.
year. 8 million, yes, 8 million tons of plastic going into the ocean each year. So they're working on updating that. So we did little things where we walked along 100 yards and counted every piece of litter we saw. And we went to the dump in Aruba just to look at what the infrastructure is like. And then we got on board and set sail. And while we were sailing, every so often we would put out what's called a manta trawl, and it would skim across the surface and pick up any plastic that it came across as we were sailing. And then we also would drop, it's called a Niskin bottle, and you drop it down 75 feet and capture water down at 75 feet. And that is actually the one that scared me the most. I mean, I was expecting to see the plastic in the surface, and unfortunately there was a lot. But when we dropped this down 75 feet, we'd pump that water through a filter, and you could see all these little specks on the filter. And she said, those little specks are also plastic, microplastics.
And that's the part that is so scary because we can't see it.
And that is the part that is so scary. I mean, the plastic on the top is tragic. It is scary that fish and birds are eating it, and then we're eating those fish. But the tiny little bits are what kind of freaked me out, that there's all of that out there that we can't see and that we're, ingesting.
So where do we, from the group that you were with or from the research that this group has done, where does the microplastic come from?
Well, unfortunately, plastic, as we said, lasts forever. So it doesn't dissolve into its components. It just breaks into smaller and smaller pieces. So these microplastics are just tiny bits of plastic that are still existing out there. So, while a bottle may not be around in 1,000 years, the tiny bits of plastic that make it up are still going to be around. And they're also finding that toxic chemicals like to leach onto these plastics. So it's a double dose of nastiness when, a small fish eats it and then a larger fish eats that and then, on up the food chain. What I liked about Expedition, and one of the reasons I signed on, was they are talking about solution-based science. So not just research for research's sake, but they are trying very hard to figure out what kinds of plastics are out there, how quickly they're breaking down, so we can try and figure out what the most important things are to stop using here. I mean, the only real way to keep plastic out of the ocean is to use less of it and to make sure that it is, taken care of responsibly. So they're working very hard to figure out what's out there in the highest concentrations and what we need to really put our energies into stopping.
So I feel like there is a fairly common myth that we can recycle our way out of this.
You know what? Recycling is not bad in and of itself, but unfortunately, plastic can usually only be recycled once before it ends up in a landfill anyway. And only about 9 or 10% of all plastic is actually recycled. So
we got to do more than just recycling.
We got to do more than just recycling. I mean, it would be great to be recycling more and using less virgin plastic, but unfortunately, even once it's recycled, you're just delaying the time frame that it ends up in a landfill or an ocean or wherever its final resting place is. Whereas aluminum, can be recycled infinitely.
Right.
There's no quality loss. So you just melt it down and make a new one. When you melt down plastic, it actually changes that chemical bonds and they can only do so much with it. So, we just it is a cheap and wonderful material. I mean, plastic is great for some things, but it just doesn't make a ton of sense for something we use once and then just throw it away.
I know my husband spent a fair amount of time in the hospital over the past year, and plastic, literally probably saved his life because of the plastic implements and the things that we build out of plastic for medical devices and things. So I'm very grateful to plastic. But
no, I mean, for sure.
I got you.
Yeah,
but it's the single-use stuff that I think everybody's kind of clueless on. Not everybody. Well, I apologize, listeners. I know you're not clueless.
No, but marketing and advertising has done a great job of convincing us that, things should be disposable. Everything should be convenient. We shouldn't have to wash a spoon after we stir coffee. We should just get another one and use that and throw it away. So, a lot of time and effort and money has been put into convincing us that that's an okay way to live. And so, we got to reverse that now.
So there's a lot of opportunity. I have to laugh because my mother, who is old enough to be my mother, she keeps saying, we were green all the time back then. I said, yeah, y'all didn't have any other options. But it was a simpler time simply because they didn't have the choices that we have now. And life did move slower. So this convenience factor hadn't taken the priority that it has in our lives. And convenience is wonderful. But I will say the past year with my experience with my husband, one of the beautiful things that came out of it is it forced me to slow down. And as it forced me to slow down, I learned that I could be much more intentional about things and choosing. Now, I'm an empty nester, so I don't have kids around right now. So that's definitely a big part of it. But I used to pack my kids' lunch in reusable containers. And even if I had to use a baggie, they'd bring it home and I would wash it out.
Yeah, no,
my kids know that, there were solutions even back in the olden days.
There is nothing wrong with realizing that, progress is not always in the right direction. Just because we have advanced does not necessarily mean we do have, as you said, we have choices now. And we have to take a good hard look at what those choices are. And unfortunately, we're not paying the true cost for disposability and convenience right now.
So true. And there's so many things in our life right now that we do not pay the true cost on.
Right. So, unfortunately, someone's going to have to pay that. And it will probably be our kids or grandkids, the next generation. But I think we need to start taking a hard look at why we're choosing convenience, why we're choosing disposability, taking the easy way out. And does that make sense?
So what's your big why? Why do you do all this?
Plastic was something that once I saw, I couldn't unsee. I think maybe I was Catholic in a former life or something. I have a lot of existential guilt. So I feel bad. I throw it away and I'm like, ugh, that's going to be there forever. And I can't unknow that. So really, this whole company is about making me feel better. Which is, I'm not sure the best reason to start a company, but
I totally get what you're saying because I share a lot of that feeling that I feel compelled to do what I can to leave this world better for not only my kids, your kids, all of our kids and grandkids, because it's just not my code to leave it worse than I found it.
No. And you know what? I'm far from perfect. There are days when we're on our way to soccer practice that my son has once again forgotten his water bottle, even though I asked him 15 times and we stop and get a Gatorade. It happens.
Yep,
I just work really hard to try and have it happen less and to try and provide other people with an opportunity to have an easy way to minimize their footprint as well.
I'm a big believer in the 80-20 rule. So if I can get it the way I want it to be 80% of the time, then I can give myself grace the other 20%.
Yeah. We have a progress, not perfection mantra over here. So, we cannot beat ourselves up about those times and just do the best that we can.
I totally in line with that. So folks, hang on. We'll be right back to finish up our conversation with Lindsey of Plaine Products. 5 myths of green homes are 5 things that you probably believe about green homes that may be costing you thousands of dollars. Which myth do you hear the most? Get your copy of 5 Myths at greenhomecoach.com and click on the button for 5 Myths of Green Homes. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Green Home Coach and let me know the green home myth you hear the most. I'll also share tips, products, and resources. Be sure to download your copy of 5 Myths of Green Homes now and then check back to learn more. Still gabbing with Lindsey McCoy of Plaine Products. And if you've been along for the ride so far, you've learned a lot about Lindsey. And every time I talk to you, Lindsey, I just have more fun. And I think part of it is just because I have a lot of like mind. And
yeah, it helps.
I am finding, and I think you are too, from some of our other conversations, so many women, in particular, gentlemen, I am not trying to leave you out, that we are women. So there's a likeness thing there going on. But so many women are truly concerned, but they're so much overwhelmed that they don't know where to start. Do you find that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's why podcasts like this are so helpful, is that people are looking for someone just to tell them what to do. And, you don't, it gets, I mean, internet is a blessing and a curse, right? I
Isn't
mean,
that
you
the
type
truth?
something in and there's 3 million results and you're like, okay, where to start? And,
Yeah.
how do I separate fact from fiction? And so I think, things that you do are such a service to people to be able to say, here's something that I've vetted and trusted and I've done the homework for you.
Thank you. So for y'all listening, you can find Plaine Products on Everyday Green Home, my online green store. And every product on there, including Plaine Products, I have personally vetted through either third-party certifications or a process that I have used for home products according to one of the Green Home certification programs. And for personal products, we look at the kind of testing and if there's reports on environmental working group and things of that nature. So I am not just throwing stuff out there. I've used Lindsey's products. I love them. I'm telling y'all about this and I'm sharing Lindsey with you and everybody you can think of. Please share, because I love these products and I love what you and your sister are doing to take a step and to help people understand that here's an opportunity to not only improve their own health with better products for our bodies, but also to improve the health of this world. And we're all riding the same world, folks. This is it.
Yes, this is it. What do they say? There's no planet B.
No. So I have to laugh because so many people tend to use the word planet. And I'm like, that's awesome. But what if you think about the planet plus the people on it? And to me, that says world instead of planet.
Yes.
But
yes. Okay.
They're both critical. If we don't have a planet, we don't have a world. So anywho, and we've seen such amazing instances of this earth, this home of ours, healing itself. But we have to back off long enough to let it heal.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are smart monkeys. And once we figure out and really accept that there's a problem, I mean, we fixed the ozone layer in the 80s. So I know that we can do it. We just have to get serious about doing it and be willing to accept that there's a problem. But I remain optimistic about our ability to.
Thank you. Hope is one of the best things we can have.
Right.
I agree. So I want to circle back a little bit now and talk about what all is in Plaine Products. We talked about the packaging. We talked about how it's shipped. Oh, by the way, I read another product that I'm using. They had a great story about how they ship using the U.S. postal system, which you do too, right?
We do too. Yes, we do.
So here is something that had really not crossed my mind. For all of us that are using the postal system to receive products, the postal system's already coming to your door every day, whether you want them to or not. So you are already using a pre-established route rather than adding a new delivery onto the system. So just by the simple fact that y'all have chosen to use the U.S. postal system for your delivery is, in my mind, in and of itself, a more sustainable option than having a point-to-point delivery.
Yes. I mean, I think, more and more is coming out about how bad the Amazon 2-day, next day, immediate delivery is.
And I use it. I'm guilty as charged, but I mean,
it is a cool thing. Don't get me wrong. To be able to press a button and have it. Yes. But, it is important to step back every moment and say, do I really need that in the next 24 hours? Sometimes the answer is yes.
And I know they're working on optimizing their routes so that they're being more efficient. They're going to electric vehicles. So I know that the big companies, especially Amazon, because we all use it, we all love it. Yeah. But I love the fact that for you being a more focused set of products, that you've been able to take advantage of a great system that's already there.
Yes. And, for the returns, it helps as well because they're coming to your door every day. You don't have to call anyone to say, come pick this up, or you don't have to drop it off anywhere. It also
stick it in your mailbox.
There as well. Yep.
Super easy. Very convenient. Okay. So tell us a little bit about the history of how you came to get Plaine Products out to us. And the cool thing is, and we really haven't talked about it much, is these are great products that don't have toxins in them and all the chemicals you can't pronounce.
Yes, I think I learned that anything you can't pronounce is something you don't want in your personal care products. That was my lesson. So, no, I mean, when I called my sister, she is much more of a product hound than I am. We agreed we didn't want a lot of chemicals, and we worked with a lot of different manufacturers before we found the company that we're using now. And they share a commitment with us to have all natural-based ingredients. We actually use aloe as our main ingredient instead of water. So it's a nice thick product. We also decided to put a lotion pump on the shampoo. So it's a smaller pump than most products. And it's not one of those that like you turn upside down and get 5 gallons of shampoo in your hand. We really wanted people to realize they didn't need to use much and not to have to overuse the product. So, there's none of the parabens or sulfates. They're actually palm oil free and they're vegan. So we found a great manufacturer. All the good stuff.
And if I recall, you've done some testing on it that you share on your website.
Yes. So we are Leaping Bunny certified, which means we're cruelty free. We also have a PETA certification, which is vegan and cruelty free. And then Think Dirty, which is a great resource, has rated our products as a 0, which means, totally, completely safe. It's a great, as far as chemicals and products, it's a great resource to use. So yeah, good stuff. And it works.
That's the best part. It works.
Yes. Right? Yes.
So doing something great for you and great for the world.
Going natural is wonderful, but it has to work for your hair. That's kind of where I was with shampoo bars. I really wanted it to work and it just didn't. I will say that, having a one size fits all product means, for me, I have to leave the shampoo in for a few minutes to really get my hair clean because I have finer hair that tends towards oily. I do a quick use of the conditioner and I don't even use it every day. Whereas my sister's the reverse. She doesn't shampoo every day, or when she does, it's in and out quickly, whereas the conditioner stays on for a few minutes, or sometimes she even leaves it in completely. So, there is a little bit of manipulation that goes on, but I think if you use them and spend a little time with them, they work very well.
And for me, I don't have to shampoo as often. So that's been a great side benefit is for some reason my hair, and some of this may just be because I'm getting older too, but my hair stays cleaner longer, which is awesome. And anything that saves me time is a bonus.
Oh, you are lucky. I'm excited for that change. I'm hoping that's coming for me someday soon.
Hey, there's got to be some perks to getting older.
There's got to be some perks to getting older.
Well, so listeners, you can get Plaine Products in several ways, and we've got a 20% off coupon discount for you. So you can go to greenhomecoach.com/Plaine Products. That's PLAINE Plaine with an E, products is plural, right?
Yep.
Got it. If you go directly to Plaine Products website, because you forgot, just use the coupon code GreenHomeCoach. And you can also find it on Everyday Green Home, where it does come through Amazon. So if you order through one of the other ways, you will get the discount and you will get to support both Lindsey and my companies together. So we love the fact that we can come to you as small businesses and help you get a better deal and help you really try an amazing, wonderful product. Like I said, I've just really been thrilled with this. If you have one thing that you would like to leave everybody with, Lindsey, what would that be?
I guess my one thing is just try something, whether it's our product or something else. Make one change and see, how that feels and realize that it is not the hardest thing in the world. Even if it's just, reusable bags or a reusable bottle, I think that it is empowering making a switch and feeling like you're doing a little bit better for the planet.
Couldn't agree more. Lindsey McCoy with Plaine Products. I am excited to see where this all goes because I think y'all are in a great space to really help make a difference. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me on. As I said, we really appreciate people helping us spread the word and with such enthusiasm. That's a bonus.
Well, it's hard not to be enthusiastic when you found something that you love using. So anywho, all you listeners out there, go get your own, give it a shot, give it a try. And everyone have a great green day.
Thank you.
That wraps up this episode of the Green Gab podcast. Ready to use what you learned? Get the show notes with all the resources mentioned in this episode. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thank you again for listening and for leaving a review. And remember that living a little greener is easier than you think.